First, let me say thanks, everybody, for checking in today. I'm driving around northern Wisconsin right now. We're expecting 6 to 8 inches of snow somewhere near Lambeau Field, Green Bay area, Fond du Lac. Hopefully it's warmer by you. Today I want to talk a little bit about self-awareness and what I call don't be the reason, a little bit of self-accountability. When I say don't be the reason, think about what that means. If something went wrong, don't be the reason. Don't be the reason that something went wrong. And everybody has to look inside themselves and handle themselves. And I fight those demons. When I talk about not being the reason, whenever I'm coaching someone or I'm helping someone with either a concern or a process of any kind, I like to always reference, don't be the reason. What does that mean? How do we apply it to ourselves? First, it means you're trying to change a habit or a process in your store. Think of it like this. Say I have a vehicle intake process breakdown. I'm not getting good tire measurements in the lane. Some step of the process you're feeling is not functioning correctly. A few of the people that generally cause this are either a porter or a greeter. Whoever we have involved in the process, obviously the advisor and of course the manager. If the greeter isn't doing his part and keeping the customer in the car for you to come out and do a good walk around, then he was the reason. If the advisor is, I'm too busy, if they're making up reasons why they didn't have time for that, then the advisor is the reason. And managers, we have to look at ourselves too. Maybe we're not the people that touch the cars every time, but we could still be the reason if we're not inspecting. When a process breaks down, somebody is generally the reason. If that process worked once, it can work twice. It's not the process's fault. Self-accountability. We all have to look within ourselves as to why something did or didn't go the way we wanted it to go. If the process isn't broken, if the porter or greeter wasn't the reason, if the advisor wasn't the reason, if the manager wasn't the reason, then nothing went wrong. Think about it that way. If nobody is the reason, then nothing went wrong. Then everything is working the way it should. Now, we as managers, it's easy to, and myself included, it's easy to not inspect what we expect. If we are inspecting what we are expecting, then we likely will not be the reason either. I like to stress this to anytime I'm talking to a manager, whether it's a GM, an owner, a service manager, a team service manager on an individual team setting. You have to be the leader. Part of being the leader is inspecting, and part of being the leader is never expecting your people to do something that you wouldn't do. Okay? If you won't do it, and you don't inspect it, and you don't expect it to be done, then your people won't do it. If we are inspecting, if we are leading by example, there's a key word there, example. Think about that one. That's a big issue sometimes. If we're leading by example and we're helping our customers, our clients, our employees, that shows them that we care as much about the process as they should. So if the manager isn't inspecting, if the manager isn't leading by example, then we're part of the problem, then we become the reason. I have to look at myself for that every time I'm in a store. If I'm in a store and I know a customer's process, I know one of my clients' processes, I'm going to help out. I'm going to help out because that's what I would want them to do. And if they see that I do it and it's that important to me, then it's that important to them. It has a lot more meaning if they see the guy that is leading the team do these things. If we're going to make excuses, then somebody's the reason. Always consider yourself potentially part of the problem when you see a process breakdown. Look at yourself. Did I do what I needed to do in the process to make sure the process didn't break? Remember, we're the leaders, we're the guides. Part of success is being part of the team, not just sitting at the top and saying, my guys did it or my guys didn't do it. Anytime you present that attitude, then you're not on your employee's side. Leadership is a tough thing. Leadership is not only a mindset, but leadership is hands-on. Leadership is showing. Leadership is teaching. And if we're not showing or teaching, then we could be the reason. It's a great time of year to kind of step back and look at each person and each process and start with yourself. I'm mostly talking to managers at this point because that's where it always has to start. We're, again, the leaders. Step back. Look at everything you do in your day. Is everything I do for the good of the team, and does it build the team? Am I inspecting what I expect my people to do? Is each employee doing their part of the routine that makes the machine run? Nobody in that machine, no employee is unimportant. Every employee is a gear, and as soon as one gear is missing, something isn't working right. So as leaders, as managers, we have to look at every gear in that machine. It's a great time of year to do that. Spend an afternoon. Start with yourself. Look at your processes. What do you do in a day that in turn helps your people not be the reason? And then once you know in your heart that you can say to yourself that you're not the reason, then you go to the next person. You say, are they doing everything that I want them to do? Are they not the reason? And challenge them, if there's anybody underneath them, to look at their people. If they're a team service manager, let's say, you know, is there an advisor, helper, or someone underneath them that they can look at and say that they are guiding them while you guide your team service manager? Every person, every link in the chain has to do their part, or somebody becomes the reason. We don't want to be the reason. Because if there's somebody that is the reason, then something isn't working right. So down the chain, all the way through your technicians, your porters, your greeters, your parts guys, managers, we affect each and every one of those people. Touch base with them. Let them know you care about the job that they do. Your concern for their success weighs entirely heavily on your success. If your people are happy and aren't the reason, then you're doing your job. But you have to start with yourself. Managers, always look at yourself first. Is there the possibility that the reason something isn't working right is because of you? It takes a big person to admit that. You know, I'm guilty of it. I think anybody on this call, anybody that listens to this at some point in time can say they are guilty of that, of not being as thorough with themselves, and therefore something went wrong underneath them. So never assume it's somebody else's fault. Always first assume that you could have impacted the result by doing something different. If you know in your heart that you have done everything right, then you can look at other people, but always start with yourself, self-accountability. It's very, very important. I don't think anybody can say that they are 100% successful at that. We always have to stop and think and look at ourselves as potentially part of a cause, potentially part of a reason that something didn't go well. Does anybody have any advice or anything they can share in relation to that? Again, nobody is perfect, guys. We all have to look at ourselves. I have to do it. You have to do it. I especially stress it to any manager. Be part of the team. Help your team. Lead by example. Always, always, always look at yourself as a potential cause of something having gone wrong. Because the last thing you want as a leader is for your people to say that it was their boss's fault. You always want to be the prime example, to be what they look up to, because trust me, they do. Almost every employee underneath a manager at some point in time will say to themselves, I want to move up, or I want to be that guy, if you're doing those things. And that's a wonderful feeling if you think about it. If you can do everything you can do to help your people, to lead your people, to not be the reason that something went wrong. Think about how good that feels when people desire to learn from you. There isn't a better feeling when people desire to learn from you. It's just an awesome thing. If nobody else has anything to add, we'll wrap it up there.
All right, Robert, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate you hosting our call today.
Happy to do it anytime. Talk to you guys later. Have a good day.